I got up this morning and I pick up the papers, and then I turn on the news and I see $400 million being shipped in cash, and it's being shipped overnight to Iran. $400 million. You know, we have a president who, frankly, is incompetent.
All right, that was GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump at a rally earlier today talking about the hundreds of millions of dollars in cash that the administration sent to the #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran, earlier this year. Here with reaction, author of The Greatest Comeback, Patrick J. Buchanan. 400 million cash, cargo plane, no markings. Let's see, francs and euros and dollars. What do you call that, Pat?
I would say, Sean, that might be ransom. You have 4 Americans held in criminal captivity by a regime that we believe and state is a state sponsor of terror. And in proximity to the release of these $400 million, $100 million per person, goes in basically in foreign currencies into Iran. Look, Sean, I worked in the White House under Ronald Reagan, and they tried to impeach him for sending some TOW missiles to Iran when it was in a war with Iraq, and we were basically helping both sides. They tried to impeach him. They very nearly broke down the administration of his successor, George H.W. Bush, because he was in a room then. Look, these were regarded far less than what's been done here as nearly impeachable acts.
But, you know, and this goes to the campaign, too. I'm getting a little sick and tired of the Lindsey Grahams, the McCains, the Paul Ryans. You know, I'll even take it a step further. I really believe they have been sabotaging, in many ways, Trump's campaign. I'm not saying Donald Trump doesn't make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But with that said, they're more critical of Trump than they've ever been against the Obama agenda or Hillary Clinton, you know, devoting a full night to Black Lives Matter at the convention, the most radical Democratic Party platform in history. And I'm getting a little frustrated. Are you?
Well, yeah, I understand that, and I think Donald Trump is getting frustrated. But the point I'll tell you what's going on with them. They want to keep their base with their friends in the media and their friends in the Republican establishment, at the same time to remain acceptable to this brand new force, this populist, conservative, you know, economically nationalist party that is rising up. So they're playing both sides. But I agree that, you know, I heard some advice given to Donald Trump. I think maybe it was Rudy the other night, Sean. Do not let yourself be distracted by these peripheral problems and attacks and disloyal, and focus, as you know, Martin Luther King said it, keep your eyes on the prize, march on. The goal is the presidency. The way to get that is to defeat Hillary Rodham Clinton and take the issues that brought you the nomination. They will carry you to the election.
I totally agree, and that was part of my opening comment tonight. He should never mention any of these people, but we can mention them. And I find what they are doing is disruptive, not helpful, and frankly, it's hurting at some point. And at some point, don't they have to be held accountable for what they do and what they say, and how, you know, I wish they showed this type of courage when it came to Obama.
But I think the important thing is to keep the campaign and the candidate focused on the issues that can win this election.
Jobs,
but I do
the economy,
agree with you.
Protecting the homeland, immigration, refugees, all of this.
And he's the one guy that's mentioned, looked out there. If you want manufacturing brought back, everybody now says, if they ask people who's the one who can do that, everybody would say Trump, and everybody would like to see manufacturing brought back.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so going forward, I agree he can do that. What do you think about, what do you do when something like this Mr. Khan comes up? Now, they ignored Pat Smith. She spoke at the Republican convention. She got little coverage. Hillary basically called her a liar. So I think we've exposed the media. They've chosen sides in this whole thing, and clearly are an extension of the Clinton press office in every respect. So, you know, what do you do to handle that?
Well, you've got to deal with the problem of reality. And that is that the national media, by and large, are in the tank for Hillary. They are frightened to death of Donald Trump. The establishment here is frightened of Donald Trump. They aren't going to make the Patricia Smith case at all, and they will make the case for Dr. Khan. Now, the point about Dr. Khan is, I think the Donald Trump should have listened to him and said, look, his son's a patriot. He died for his country. I regret the views they have. Let's move on. and rather than engage him, in my judgment. But others can engage him, and others can do the investigation. Again, we got the prize fighter. You don't use him to fight bar fights. He's in the main fight, Sean.
Yeah, and I think that's really good advice. He does have surrogates. There's a lot of controversial findings that I've dug up about Mr. Khan and others.
Right.
The media is going to ignore that, and they're going to try and
I think Dr. Khan or Mr. Khan is passing on for this reason. You see him keep at it, and you've got this new issue, and the media eventually, if Donald Trump doesn't respond, eventually has got to move on to where the people are looking. And the people right now are looking at $400 million in foreign currencies to buy back 4 hostages from a state sponsor of terror.
Do you think, looking today, who wins this election today?
If it were held today, I think Hillary would win the election, but it is not over. Look, I've seen a lot of campaigns. I mean, Goldwater was down 59 points at one measure. Nixon was down. Others have been down and have come back.
Reagan, too. Reagan didn't.
Reagan was way down with Carter until, Anderson broke. And I looked at the polls today, the old Gallup polls, and that's when Reagan came up. A lot of things can happen between now and the election. This thing that happened just this morning, Sean.
Yeah, you're right.
This could be a changer in the polls of 7 points.
All right, Pat Buchanan, always good to see you. Thank you.
Pleasure, Sean.
And coming up next on this busy news night tonight, right here on Hannity.
It was Hillary Clinton that she should get an award from them as the founder of ISIS. That's what it was. That's what it was. Her weakness, her weak policies.
Donald Trump back on the offensive against Hillary Clinton. So what does he need to do to defeat his Democratic rival in November? Kellyanne Conway, Lisa Booth, Doug Schoen will have reaction, and also tonight.
These were 2 separate processes run by 2 separate teams. Now, yes, they were done simultaneously, and so I understand the coincidental nature here, the timing.
All right, the Obama administration, they're spinning this damning new report that says, yeah, the White House did in fact send $400 million in cash to Tehran to release these American hostages. All right, we'll have reaction from Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, and more tonight right here on Hannity.